morning, YouTube. I'm back with some more helpful advice. It's time for all of my resident and interns. Congratulations to all my new interns and to all my incoming PGY2s, PGY3s, PGY4s, PGY5s, and if you're in neurosurgery program with research, PGY8s and 9. I just want to give you some helpful survival advice. I want to show you how to survive in the residency, internship, going to residency, prelim year environment, just so you won't get overwhelmed and just so you'll know how to excel. So stay tuned after the intro. All right, number one, I want to make sure you know number one means that you write down everything, but don't just write down everything on a sheet of paper that can be lost. You need to make sure you document everything that you're told to do. I'll give you two examples of what I used. This is something simple and easy. It's easy to open. Boom, you're open and ready to write. Easy to close and keep from getting damaged from water or anything. And you can buy them, they're really cheap. I got like a big stack of these on Amazon. Or you can get this other kind I have here where you can just wrap the elastic around it, keeps it closed, and it's tight so you can easily carry it with you. Everything you have should be easy to grab in 1 or 2 seconds, put under an arm, stuff in a lab coat pocket, or stuff in a little carry backpack you have. But make sure you write down everything that you're told to do in a task fashion. That means to draw a little check mark, and write down what you're told to do. Have it in a carryable, easy to carry format. Number two, you already know nutrition is important, and you won't get a lot of it during your residency, your intern. So a lot of times when you're taking care of people, especially if you're a surgical resident, but even on medical rounds, you can get busy and rounds can go on for hours. There won't be stops for breaks for food. So you need to make sure you have a way to keep your processes going the way they should be. That means carrying with you little Ziploc bags. Don't carry anything that you have to open, rip, and tear, because people will notice and people will call you out on the floor and maybe send you away from the round. So make sure you have Ziploc bags full of little fruits and nuts, walnuts, almonds, things like that that can kind of fill you up and give you some nutrition. No junk food, nothing high in sugar. That'll give you a crack. You need things that'll help you. So apples, things that keep and carry and won't spoil over the course of a day. Nothing that's gonna spoil. Make sure you have Ziploc bags full of it because you'll need the nutrition. Ziploc bags are gonna be your best friend. Stuff them in the pockets of your lab coat or your scrub suit. You'll be good to go all day. Number three, a lot of residents are asking, how do I keep up with reading? I can't keep up. Of course, it's not designed for you to keep up. Medicine books are this thick, and the time you have available to read them is about like this. So you won't have the time to read from cover to cover a textbook. What you will have time to do is know your patient's condition. I went to pimp heavy residencies, and I don't know if you know what that means, but that's when your attending physicians and other residents pepper you with questions back to back until you learn that, hey, you should remember old things that you knew from medical school, but also be able to apply them to your patient's conditions. And you learn from other residents, you learn from your attendings. If your program's going to be like this, where you're going to be asked questions, and most programs are this way, you're going to need to be prepared. So know your patient's condition. So if your patient has high blood pressure and diabetes and they're about to undergo a surgery, you need to know about high blood pressure ranges, know about treatments, best options, know the treatments the patient's currently on and how they work, know about diabetes, know about ranges, know about the current recommendations, know about all the medications that the patient's currently taking, then know about the procedure the patient's going to undergo, and know what could happen with that patient during the procedure, the risks and complications, as well as what you need to do for that patient in the post-operative period in order to get them ready for discharge. So that means how to write orders after the patient has had their surgery, so you'll know, okay, keep the blood sugar in this range, continue the high blood pressures right afterward, or wait a day or two afterward, or you need to consult another service to do this with you, where you need to have a close contact with them. All these things need to happen. That's why I say make sure you're reading about the patient's current condition. Know your current conditions rather than randomly reading in a textbook. It won't help. This is what will help you, okay? So make sure you have a game plan and follow the game plan I just gave you. Number 4, don't impress with expensive stuff. That means before you start your upcoming year, don't go buy an expensive handbag. Don't buy an expensive satchel to carry your things in. Don't go buy the most expensive pair of scrub shoes, and definitely don't overpay for your scrubs. These things are going to be covered in germs. They're going to be covered in blood at times. They're going to be covered in other secretions from patients who are very sick. And you don't want to invest your money in something that you may have to throw away, that gets torn often, that gets big ink stains from pens that get torn. If you ever have a fall or you bump into something, you get something on you, you don't want to invest a lot of money in things that don't matter. And a lot of times hospitals have their own scrubs that they want you to wear. So you'll wear some scrubs in that won't really be seen because you come in so early. You'll wear hospital grade scrubs, and then on the way out, you change into your own outfits. So a lot of times you don't have to spend a lot of money on a lot of swag. What I would say, if you're gonna spend a little money, don't get any calligraphy pens. This isn't the time for that. No colorful pens or things. Just invest in your comfortable pen to write with, maybe with a cushion for the fingers that's big enough for you to slip right in, and that way you're ready to go. And this is the biggest investment I've made, like a $5 pen, and you can order them in bulk off of Amazon or some of the value websites, okay? So don't spend a lot of money on expensive otoscopes and ophthalmoscopes and things like that. The hospitals will have one for you to use oftentimes, or if you need one, just have it with you from medical school, but don't go overspend. You can get a quality stethoscope for under $200. Under that, you don't want it. Now that's something that you're going to use and you want it to be of a high quality, but you don't want to get one of the expensive electronic ones unless you're in a cardiology or cardiothoracic fellowship. Not even on cardiothoracic surgery rounds, you won't need that. You'll just need a good standard Littmann stethoscope, and that'll be enough, okay? So don't overspend. All right, number 5 is just about common courtesy, but you will get busy and you will forget. And then some of you are gonna fall into doctor syndrome, where you've waited so long to be called doctor that, oh, once you hear it, your chest is gonna puff out. Some of you are nice guys, and some of you are nice women. I know that you know how to act. Some people don't know. They can't take a compliment to save their lives. So if that is you, and I know that's not you, I know you're going to be a good guy, a good person in the hospital, but I want you to walk in and say good morning to everyone you see who's worked in the hospital. I want you to say good afternoon and good evening. How are you doing? If you're sitting there taking notes, I want you to say, how are you? How are you doing to the nurses? How are you doing to the other doctors who may be passing you by? How are you doing to the service staff that are there? Hospital we worked at had people who opened the door, people who, the concierge who worked at the front. Make sure you get to know who they are, because they need to know who they are, because they know your attendings and they will let them know if you're a bad actor, if something happens, and you may lose your keys. You may have an emergency that happens to you. Your car may stop working. Things happen because you're living a real life during this residency, and these people can actually help you. I've had some leave the cafeteria open for me, get food for me. I've helped many of them personally, but you want to make sure you realize you are moving into someone else's house, and this is going to become your home. You're going to be here more than the people are there. Other sick people are there. So these are the people you need to know. Make sure you're saying good morning, good afternoon to them. All the staff, not just the nurses, not just the doctors, but if you see your people who are feeding you, fixing your food, who clean in the areas, janitorial staff, anesthesia support staff, surgical support staff, nursing support staff, medical assistants. Make sure they know your name, say hello to them, be friendly to them, and be very careful, okay? Because they can make or break you oftentimes. So go in with a heart, even when you get busy, make a point of good morning. Even though if it's a rough day, have enough time, have enough care in your heart. Remember what I'm saying to you, because it's going to be easy for you to focus on the work, but not on the heart. So make sure you keep your heart open to other people in medicine, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Now, let me share something with you with number 6. 6 is a way that you can finally ingratiate yourself with your senior residents and attendants. And that's what a lot of you want to do, because you're going to want letters of recommendation one day. You're going to want these people to like you. And you don't just want to become the equivalent of a scut monkey. And that's someone who is just running around doing all the work. They say, go see this patient, go check this lab, go check a blood pressure, go change these bandages and tell me what it looks like. That's what you do. You come back, they give you more tasks all day. End of the day, okay, see you tomorrow. But they don't know anything about you. They don't know your birthplace. They don't know what you're interested in. They don't know that your fiance, that you just got engaged. They don't know that you're expecting a baby. They don't know anything interesting about you. So there's no connection. And the thing that makes people care is connection. You must build connection with other residents, especially your senior residents and attendings that are constantly throwing to-do lists at you. Because if they recognize that you're only someone who's good at receiving, accepting, and doing, and coming back for more, they're going to give you more and more, and they're going to stop caring because they're busy too. So what I'd say is, from time to time, if you get a moment with them, make sure you share some personal details that are positive first about yourself. Positive. Say, hey, I really did enjoy that case. That reminds me of back at home, this hospital I would go into and volunteer when I first started back in Detroit, okay? And just say that to them, and they may follow up with, hey, you're from Detroit? Say, yeah. Hey, I'm from this other part. I'm from Ann Arbor. And there you can build a common bond. And then talk about football, talk about the basketball team, talk about different things, talk about the weather. But find a way to build common bonds with people. Learn how to have conversations with your superior attendings and residents so that you can be comfortable and they can become comfortable with you, okay? So make sure you work on conversations and feeding in bits of your life with people rather than just keep the professionalism, but make sure that you aren't just someone that does tasks and does things. Make sure that you really are building relationships with everyone who you. All right, this is part of your survival guide, okay? So number 7, I want you to offer to help others at all times. That means with your nurses, help them help you with your patients. That means emptying the urinal containers if you can. This is your patient. This is someone you're going to need to know those amounts anyway. You don't want to wait for them to have to write them all out all day. How much urine have they made this day? These couple of hours. And they just take an average anyway. You want to make sure if they are struggling, can't find an extra person to do a patient role, make sure you help them. They will help you. I've had so many of them look out for me and save me during rounds because I was helpful to them too. In the ICUs where there's so much going on and patients can't do anything, they can't even breathe. Half of them are in drug-induced comas. Make sure you're helpful and careful. Make sure you jump in to help wherever you can. If you have a fellow resident who is drowning, who's busy, and you're at the end of your day or you're about to go to lunch, hey man, hey girl, can I go get you something to eat? I'll put it in the refrigerator in the lounge for you and put your name on it. Small gestures like this go a long way with people who you're essentially going to be living with in a brotherhood or sisterhood with for the next 4, 6, 8 years. So make sure that you look out for the people, be a team player, not just sucking up to the residents above you and the attendings above you, but also helping fellow interns, making sure they've had food to eat. Share a snack with them. So you bring enough. Share some apples with them. Share some sliced up oranges or something with them. But make sure that no one is running around struggling, because we all are going to struggle from time to time and we need some help. This is a huge one. Number 8, make sure that your senior resident knows every small, seemingly, you may think it's not important, but make sure that they know all of the small details that you just got from the nurse passing by on the way to rounds. You do not want the attending to ask a question about your patient, or they may turn and ask the senior resident because it's so small a piece of information only you may know because the nurse just told you. Your senior resident is sitting saying, well, I'm not sure. And then you pipe up and say, well, they've made 50 mils of urine in the past, 2 hours, and it's this color. You don't want to be that person because that senior resident just was made to look bad by an intern or by a junior resident. You don't want to be that person because they can control you getting cases. They can control you getting the better assignments. They can control a lot for you. You don't want to show people up unnecessarily. That's no reason. You can show people up with your scores, with your in-services scores, with your training exam scores. That's where you shine. But don't shine at the expense of other people, especially your senior level residents and never your attending. So never badmouth attendings, never badmouth other interns, never badmouth your colleagues, never badmouth the nurses, never badmouth. Make positivity be your goal. If that's not you, that needs to become you if you're going to exceed in this medical field, especially in medical training. Make sure that you pass all and every piece of information to your senior level resident. Make a copy of your notes, or you need to say, hey, the nurse just told me this. I just want you to know. Okay. Or in the age of text, now you can tell them anything. If you get told something, send them a text. But oftentimes they may not be checking their phone constantly. So you need to actually physically say, hey, pull them to the side. Hey, this can't wait. Let me just pull you to the side for a second. This will take 5 seconds. Tell them, boom, information. Gotcha. I just want you to know to walk away. All right. Survival tip, very important. Do not forget that one. Number 8 will save you. Will save you. Number 8. Number nine. This is huge. Do not join into negativity. That means people are going to other interns, other residents, as they move up the chain. They're going to start to talk about the bad, the worst, or the one they perceive as the bad intern or the bad resident or the bad attending, the mean attending, the one you don't want to bother with, the nurse, the bad this, the bad that. Once they start this sort of conversation, find your way to have something to do. Find your way to, oh man, I gotta go make a phone call really quickly, and stay gone for about 5 minutes until they switch topics. You don't even want to sit in the midst of people speaking this way. One, because people overhear things. Hospitals are tight and they have great acoustics, so people can hear conversations around corners. The last thing you want is for a nurse to overhear a group of interns badmouthing another nurse or badmouthing a senior level resident. That nurse goes to that resident, says what's going on. Next thing you know, you're having the hardest time ever and you don't know why. Be careful of negativity. Negativity doesn't seem to get us very far anyway. You're all interns and you're all junior residents at this point. Some of you are senior residents learning how to deal with attendings. So what I'd say for you is, if it's negative conversation, it's not going to help you. Just tell the people, hey, better yet, if you don't want to get into some sort of uncomfortable situation with someone else, just leave. Say, hey, I have something else to do. I'll see you later, and be on your way. Don't sit there, because even if you are saying nothing, other people will say, oh, I saw them. And you don't want to be them. You want that to be them. Or you don't want to be the other person to turn around and say, oh no, it was only him, and sell out your other residents. So be careful about negativity. Do not get into gossip. You run away from it because there's too much work to be done and too much to learn. At the end of the day, we just want to learn. We just want to learn how to take care of people and how to do the best job we can, and to go home to our families, okay? So be careful. Don't gossip. Don't listen to it. Don't feed into it. And excuse yourself and find a way to go to the restroom or go make a phone call. Take a little break away from the gossip. All right, number 10. This is the one that's very important too. I want to tell you that you're going to get orders. You're going to get things, tasks to do that your senior level residents and attendings are going to tell you to do. But you'll go to put in the order, and the nurse who's been taking care of that patient all day, she kind of knows or has other insights or thoughts about the treatment or other things that have been done. And she'll tell you, oh, well, we can't do that. How about giving this much? Do this. Make sure that if those conversations happen and they're in conflict, make sure that you inform your senior resident about what the nurse is saying, and make sure vice versa. You tell the nurse, oh, well, let me check really quick with my senior resident or the attending. Make sure they all know, because that way it takes you out of it and takes you out of, well, he said this and oh, I didn't know you said that. And then you're the one who's wrong. I've fallen victim to that, where people tell you, hey, you listen to the nurses, make sure you do what they say. And you do it, and the next thing you know, you're getting yelled at by an attendant, and that nurse is nowhere to be seen. I've had nurses pretty much silent when I've been getting yelled at when I did exactly what they advised me to do with a patient. So yeah, don't do that. Make sure that you trust, but verify. Remember those words, trust but verify. As always, guys, I love doing these kinds of videos to help you. You can leave a comment below if there's anything that you want to know pertaining to making it in residency, making it out of residency, surviving your residency. Any questions that you may have, feel free to leave a comment below. And as always, remember to subscribe and leave me a thumbs up. I'm trying to build this channel. Grow with me. I just formed it. I think this is just my third video that I've done, and I want to make sure I'm giving you helpful information. So if there's another direction you want me to go into to help you, let me know. I'm going to be having more information for practicing physicians soon, so they can learn about some pitfalls and some red flags and things they need to know in today's environment, especially with prescribing. But for now, I just want to make sure I did something for our future doctors, the ones who are building our future. I really care for you guys, and I have a heart for making sure you guys are well educated and comfortable learning environments. So stay tuned with me, stick with me, and as always, learn as much as you can. Take care of yourself, take care of others, and I'll see you next time.